The Chargers just beat the Raiders, and they had us in the first half. I'm not even gonna lie. That offense, they were not playing well in the first half. Justin Herbert was under pressure a lot. That Raiders defense, okay, shout out to you guys. You played really well. Max Crosby specifically was amazing. Christian Wilkins as well. But we're not here to talk about those Raiders defenders because the Chargers won 22-10, specifically because of that second half effort. I want to talk to you guys about the highlights and takeaways from this game, and we're going to start out with this offense. First guy I'm going to talk about, bro, J.K. Dobbins, the Chargers' new running back. He looked really good, looked healthy, bro. Knock on wood, because that's a major thing with him. We knew how good he was because he played amazing at Ohio State, played great for the Ravens as well in the NFL. As soon as he started playing in the NFL as a rookie, he looked amazing. One of the most efficient running backs in the NFL, but he could not stay healthy. He looked healthy, 10 carries, 135 yards, plus that touchdown later on in the game in the second half. He looked really good with that patience, the vision, and also like the burst that he has. He had surprising burst for a guy who's got an Achilles injury and some ACL injuries. He had some patience too, because behind that offensive line, a lot of times holes weren't opening up, and we're going to talk about that freaking offensive line, trust me. But he looked good with the patience, the burst, and the vision to find those holes. He looked amazing, and I'm so happy for him because like he had two really big runs. So he had a 61-yarder, and then he had another run for like 40 yards or something like that. So that's kind of the bulk of this 135 yards. But when you also take into consideration that the offensive line wasn't opening up a ton of holes, you know, you can really see like, okay, just the fact that he took two of those and just completely broke that defense shows how good of a running back he is, because there wasn't much room to be had. And the other running back, Gus Edwards, did not have as good of a game, okay? 11 carries for 26 yards, actually was given the ball in the run game more than J.K. Dobbins was, but only had 2.4 yards per carry. The reason for that, again, is the offensive line not creating a lot of holes consistently, but he was able to get some tough yards, like 2 yards a pop, 3 yards, 1 yard. He never got tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and he never got tackled at the line of scrimmage. He was constantly gaining yards, and I think we saw later on in this game, it really wore down that Raiders defense, because when you give Gus Edwards the ball, he's Gus the Bus for a reason. He's going to wear down those defenders, and then in the fourth quarter, when guys are tired, they don't want to tackle the big guy. And then when J.K. Dobbins comes in and they're used to tackling the big guy, and he's not as fast, right? He's not as explosive. When J.K. Dobbins comes in, he can, boom, go around that corner, really shock the defense. And that's kind of what we expected from this tandem is, you know, wearing out the defense and then J.K. Dobbins bursting it open late in the game. That's like exactly what we saw. The plan was executed perfectly. Lightning is J.K. Dobbins. Thunder is Gus Edwards, bro. The Lightning and Thunder were brought. And then Justin Herbert, he didn't really play great. Like, he missed some open guys, could have placed the ball better at times, but he did enough to win and definitely had some big throws when he did have the protection, because the offensive line wasn't great in protecting him all that much, but he didn't look comfortable. That's just the facts. He did not look comfortable. He was 17 for 26, 144 yards passing. Did have a touchdown late in the game to Lad McConkey. Oh, shout out to Lad. That was a great touchdown. But this is not what we're used to seeing from Justin Herbert. He's a much better quarterback than what was showed yesterday. He was under pressure a lot. A lot of that probably had to do with the Raiders defense being really good and the Chargers offensive line not really being able to handle that. But also, I'm a little worried about the foot. And let me tell you why. Because he didn't look comfortable. And Justin Herbert is a guy that we know is really good under pressure. He's played maybe one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL under pressure. It's something else. And he did have that foot injury, right? He's not on the injury report because he's able to play. Obviously, he's healthy enough to play. But if that foot is still, if it hurts every time he steps on it, that's going to cause some issues with the foot placement and the technique. He's such a technically sound quarterback that when you see him, you know, kind of shuffle a little bit in the pocket, that's not what we're used to seeing. It's different. And also, it wasn't just in the pocket. When he was out on the move or out on the run, which also it looked like he was hesitant to move sometimes, he didn't look as fast as he usually does. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think the foot is still bothering him? Because I don't want to make excuses, but that's what it looks like. That's what it felt like to me. And he still played well because he's Justin Herbert, but he just didn't play like exceptional, because that's what we expect from Justin Herbert, because that's how good he is. He's an exceptional quarterback. And when he just plays good, you think something's wrong. But yeah, that offensive line, they had a rough game, particularly that interior offensive line. I'm going to look at the PFF grades right now because it was so ugly. 22.2 for Bradley Bozeman, 22.7 for Zion Johnson, then Trey Pipkins at 49.5 in pass blocking, and they allowed only 1 sack but 7 pressures. That interior offensive line with Zion Johnson and Trey Pipkins, they were struggling in the stump moves just about all game, and like Zion Johnson specifically, that is one thing from last year. If you watch my videos, you know that I've been talking about Zion Johnson struggling with those stump moves, and with guys like Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby performing that stump move, like they wreaked havoc on the interior of that offensive line, particularly early on in the game, but they actually kind of softened that a little bit later on. The second half was better overall for everybody in every facet, but you don't want to see your interior offensive line struggling like that when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who might still be hurt a little bit. You just don't want to see that. Rashawn Slater, though, 89.3 pass blocking grade. He played great. Didn't allow a single pressure. Joe Alt, though, they say he had 29 pass blocking reps, okay? But it says he has 1 pressure. So I went and I looked at what that pressure was. That was PFF is grading here, because NFL Next Gen Stats said he didn't allow any pressures. But I went and saw it was against Max Crosby. And basically what happened was he was pushed back a bit on a bull rush, and then he anchored himself, was able to stop Max Crosby, and Justin Herbert got the ball out pretty quickly. But if he held on to that ball, Max Crosby was not going anywhere. And they said that was a pressure. PFF did. I wouldn't count that as a pressure. And I thought Joe Alt played really, really well, especially considering he's a rookie and he's going against Max Crosby in one of the better defenses in the NFL. Now let's talk about Quentin Johnston, bro, because a lot of people, you either love or you hate Quentin Johnston, but he had 3 catches for 38 yards. Not a great stat line, right? But when you take into account Justin Herbert only threw for 144, it's not bad. He was the second leading wide receiver behind Ladd McConkey, who had just 1 more yard on 2 more catches. But Quentin Johnston, he was put in those situations that we want to see him be put in, right underneath, and you let him work after the catch. Let him get that yak, because he's got that yak ability. And that's exactly what he did. 16 yards was his longest catch of the game, but he was able to make guys miss, and he was able to run up the field. He didn't waste any time in accelerating and getting downfield. Ladd McConkey as well, he showed some of that same stuff Quentin Johnston did in terms of yak ability and making guys miss. Specifically on that touchdown, bro, late in the game to seal the deal, making 2 Raiders defenders look goofy like that to score your first touchdown in the NFL. That was a game-winning touchdown against a division rival. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. Now let's talk about this defense, because there was a lot of good on this defense. Poona Ford, I thought he was probably the best player on defense. I know that sounds crazy because we got Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. They both played really well too. We also got Derwin James, even Daiyan Henley, like Junior Colson. But Poona Ford was the best freaking player, and he was great at penetrating in the run. Didn't allow any easy yardage for the Raiders. Played a really big role in being able to stop the Raiders in those crucial 3rd and short situations. Even on that 4th down play in the first half, played a big role in stopping that one. He also had the game-winning big man interception touchdown, or not touchdown, but a game-winning interception. Bro, if he scored on that play, but I'm sure Jim Harbaugh loves to see that. And Poona Ford played amazing. Otita Ogbonia, another one of those guys. The entire defensive line was really good. Like, he flashed to me, Otita Ogbonia did. He looked really quick for a big man like that. Really great against the run. Same thing as Poona Ford. And when you have those 2 guys out there together, you're not going to be able to run against that defense. And Jesse Minter and Jim Harbaugh, they were both saying that they like this defensive line a lot and that it could be one of the strong points on this team. I thought they were, just hyping up their guys, but it's looking like that could be true. And then Joey Bosa was a freaking menace yesterday, bro. He had that forced fumble on the Zamir White run. Talk about effort. Talk about sideline to sideline. He was on the opposite edge, was able to go downfield, tackle him, and force the fumble when he's like 8-10 yards down the field. He was putting forth a lot of effort. Looks like the best edge player for the Chargers yesterday. He also had a sack on a 3rd down to stop the Raiders' drive. He was really good against the run, pretty good against the pass as well, although I thought he looked better against the run. Joey Bosa had an elite game, and that definitely shows. We got 4 pretty good edge rushers, and you can just constantly rotate those guys in. So they're going to be fresh. Like Khalil Mack too. He had a great game. He had sacks. He had that game-winning play where he batted the ball in the air, allowed Poona Ford to intercept it. But you're going to be able to keep these guys fresh, and these guys are aging. Like Khalil Mack's getting up there in age, but he still had some great plays. Like I just said, the pass tipped, and he also had some sacks. Like I doubt that he's going to have a 6-sack game this year and have 17 sacks in a season, but we're going to constantly rotate these guys in. They're going to be fresh. We got 4 guys that we like, so that's going to be good for the longevity of these guys because Joey Bosa, he hasn't played a full season in a long time, and Khalil Mack getting up there in age, we're in a good position. The linebackers also played pretty well. I thought Daiyan Henley looked good against the pass and against the run. Junior Colson looks like the Chargers' best linebacker against the pass. He was able to bat some balls down against Brock Bowers. I don't think it counted as a pass deflection, but he was like draped all over him. Junior Colson looked good. He got some more plays than I thought he would get. Denzel Perryman filled the gaps in the run game really, really well, and he was hitting hard. Junior Colson, too, he got some action in the run and was able to make guys miss at the second level. He's shifty. These linebackers looked really good. That is another strong point on this defense that we didn't think was going to be a strong point, but the coaching is just so good that it is. And the main problem on this defense was like the middle of the field. It was open at times. And I can't tell who exactly is at fault because it's zone coverage and I'm not in the room, so I don't know everyone's assignment specifically. But I thought Asante Samuel Jr. struggled a little bit. He had that one play where he missed the tackle. Daiyan Henley also missed the tackle, but to me, that's mostly on Asante. Alohi Gilman, he missed the tackle as well. But this defense overall, they were really, really good. But I'm just curious to see what they look like against a guy like Patrick Mahomes that we're going to see in week 4 because they're not going to be tested really until week 4. They let Gardner Minshew throw for 257 yards. A lot of that was late in the game when it was kind of already decided, like that last drive, they were throwing the ball, getting some big chunk plays. But that's kind of worrying to me a little bit. 257 yards against Gardner Minshew? What's going to happen against Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. But those are my highlights and takeaways from this game. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching.